Ova Magica combines the best elements of Stardew Valley and Pokémon. Set in Clover Town, you will raise adorable blob creatures, tend to your farm, and build relationships with the townspeople. Though it's just launching in early access, Ova Magica already comes jam-packed with tons of content. And I am obsessed! Honestly, there are a lot of things you can do in this game, and with it comes a lot of challenges. While the game doesn't really penalize you that much for not getting it right the first few times, there are just some things I wish I knew before starting my gameplay. In this video, we'll not only go through the different mechanics of the game, but dive deeper on how you can make the most of your early gameplay as a beginner in your first year. We'll be discussing specific things you need to know about each gameplay mechanic, from traversing around town, earning money, socializing, caring for blobs, and so much more. This is so that you won't have to go through the same mistakes I did. Just a gentle reminder that the game is in early access and that the game will have a lot more updates and balancing to come. That said, thank you to the developers and publisher for giving us early access to the game. And without further ado, grab your snacks, cozy up, and let's jump right into the first tip. The seasons. Ova Magica is quite different compared to other farming crafting life sims in that it only has 3 seasons in 1 year: Solis, Ceres, and Frigus. Solis is inspired by spring, Ceres is inspired by autumn, and Frigus is inspired by winter. Each season only has 3 weeks, with each week having 4 days. So you can imagine how fast you can breeze through the year, and I'm loving it. It's giving me Story of Seasons A Wonderful Life vibes without the time skip. On every 4th day comes the festivals. You heard that right, there are festivities in this game every week, with each festival having its own set of minigames. I'm not kidding you, this early access game already has so much content. An example is the painted eggs. Make sure to collect all the eggs scattered throughout the town, then exchange them for prizes at the end of the day. The in-game world at first I thought was pretty small, but with so much to do, it was actually just right. You'll be running everywhere. Thankfully, the game has a fast travel feature with no time penalty. This means that traveling from point A to point B via fast travel will not cost you any minute and will just teleport you instantly. To trigger fast travel, you would have to go to the location first, then inspect the wooden signpost for the location to register under the fast travel feature. To fast travel, you would have to go to any wooden signpost and select where you want to travel to. Unfortunately, it does not use the map, so you would have to memorize the names of the locations early on. Good thing the names are pretty easy to grasp. The map doesn't allow you the name of the location, but it does tell you where the characters are, if there's a character event, the festival event and time, and your quest line. If the fast travel doesn't cut it for you, there's also a steam board that will be available later in the game once you befriend Jasper to level 2. The steam board runs on water, so make sure to refill the water when the gauge empties. The reason you can run everywhere is probably because of the magical storage feature in this game. The magical storage is a chest scattered throughout the town and your farm, typically near the fast travel signposts, and it lets you store and retrieve items with one global storage. This means that whatever you store in the magical storage on your farm, you can retrieve it from the magical storage in town. You'll never experience leaving an item in this game. Well, except when you explore the blob world, but more on that later. It's pretty convenient, but a word of caution: if you leave an item on the floor and you leave that area, the item will be gone when you return, so make sure to always store items in the magical storage before you leave. The tools in this game are pretty straightforward. You'll get all of the tools you need, and really there was no friction in acquiring them. The same goes for upgrading the tools. It's pretty straightforward where you need to collect certain materials, but my favorite part is that the upgrade will be complete right away. No need to plan ahead on which tools you won't need for the coming days. And with a lot of things to do, the stamina in this game is pretty limited. But what's good news is that even when you deplete your energy to 0, you won't get knocked out. So use it all to your heart's content. At 10 PM though, you'll be notified that you're sleepy and you should be preparing for bed. You have 2 hours to get to your bed, because if you haven't slept yet by midnight or 12 AM, you will wake up exhausted, and the penalty is pretty heavy in my opinion. When you're exhausted, the stamina required to use specific tools will multiply by 2. And with so much to do and limited stamina, it just makes the day pretty difficult. It could become a forage or socialize day since neither of those require energy. So just take heed of the Shooting Star Festivals, an event that happens from 9 PM to 12 midnight and occurs twice in a season. You'll be running around here during this time collecting falling ores. Just don't wait until midnight. Remember to still go to bed before then, as this festival is not an exception and you will still trigger exhaustion. That said, to lessen the energy required to use a specific tool, you can learn the energy cost skills for each tool. This will reduce the energy cost of using the specific tool by 1. At first, it doesn't seem much, but as you use the tools multiple times in a day, it adds up and is a priority for me to learn as soon as possible. Then you also have the option to replenish energy by consuming food. Early on, Jade will give you her famous apple pies and you can live off of that for a while, but that's where cooking comes in. Saphir will visit you and give you a campfire blueprint and some recipes to start off with cooking. And while you can collect and definitely craft a campfire, you can actually use the campfire at the beach. This will save you more time during your first days in the game, gathering more important resources and upgrades and even the blob hut. You can learn various recipes by buying them at festivals and shops, and from eating at restaurants. Ingredients can be acquired through farming, fishing, foraging, blob battle drops, and at the daily wheel, which we'll discuss later. All seeds cost 25, but their selling price differs due to the time each plant takes to grow. Unfortunately, the game does not mention how many days a certain crop will grow, so I would have to do trial and error here. Or if I happen to miss this feature completely, let me know in the comments. One thing to mention is that crops here do not have multiple harvests. They are all single harvest, with some crops having more than a single quantity harvested. I love farming in games, that's why I usually have huge plots of land. One challenge this game has is how labor intensive it can get with only one watering can that holds limited water. One tip I have is to acquire the turtle blob that has Sprinkler as a special skill. You can get its egg from fishing when you trigger a battle with a turtle blob. The drops were pretty random, but it wasn't that difficult to obtain one. And with a turtle blob, you can finally get a thriving farm all completely watered by morning. In fishing, there are 2 types of fish you can reel in. The first one is the basic black exclamation mark where you get fish, while the other one is a crooked red exclamation where you'll trigger a wild blob battle. Fishing is a good source of ingredients, consumables, resources, and blob experience. It's even a good way to earn easy money. If you think fishing consumes too much energy, just remember to learn the skills to lessen the energy required to use a fishing rod. Oyster is a consumable that's available on the beach year-round. One clean sweep will net you about 10 to 11, and that's how I replenish my energy whenever I fish at the beach. There are a lot of forageable items around town and a lot more on your farm. It usually sells for cheap, but I mostly use it as feed for my blobs and status cures when I'm out battling. Given how bright the game is, some items still blend in the background, so if something looks different, just go near it and the item will be outlined in white if you can collect it. And don't forget the apple trees. These are available during the Solace and Ceres seasons right behind Jade and Ruby's home. Mining was a huge hurdle for me at the start because mines have wild blobs that will run after you once they spot you. Early on, you can try your best to hide and quietly dig for some nodes near the entrance, but once you have a team of blobs, you can move farther in the mines and gather more materials. Personally, battles from fishing are easier for me, maybe because the incentive was a blob with a Sprinkler special skill. I do think that upgrading your tools is one of the priorities early in the game, less stamina required and more time to do other things. So do take time to mine slowly but surely. Once you get the hang of blob battles, you'll find that the wild blobs in the first mine are pretty easy. That said, upgrading your tools can get quite expensive early on, and with the economy in Ova Magica, it can be quite difficult. While you can earn a lot in this game, you spend a lot as well. One thing to take note of when selling is the high demand at the upper right corner. This tells you what item sells for 3 times its usual amount, and this changes daily. It can be as easy as fiber to something mid to late game like mithril. I like how the NPC shops are open all the time, at least on days when there aren't any festivals. So you can ambush Jade at night to buy seeds for some late night farming. Physical stores though do have their days off. One is the general store that Carnelian runs. It's closed on day 2 every week, while the restaurant is closed every day 1. And yes, that's how you call the days in this game. During festivals, one tip I have to save money is to finish the minigames first before buying from the festival shops, because sometimes the price you get could be what you wanted to buy. Unfortunately, this happened to me. I was excited on getting a certain item and I purchased it right away before the minigame. And lo and behold, that was the prize I got. I ended up with a duplicate of an item and a few coins poorer. Another thing that I like in this game is the daily health wheel. You can come up to the Clovertown Plaza daily and get a random prize. The prize pool is seasonal, so the prizes you can claim will be different each season. It's free fruits and veggies. You can sell, cook, consume, or feed them to your blobs. There are also seasonal stalls in the corner of the plaza. And during Solace, it's an area where you can donate clover for the upcoming Founders Day. If the stall is fully filled up with clovers, you can get a blob egg for free during the festival. During Ceres, there's an option for a trade where they will ask you for 3 items in exchange for more valuable items. The requested items change daily, so I always check what they want because it's like a free upgrade of what you can sell or what you can consume for yourself and your blobs. Then on Frigus, there's a countdown calendar where you can obtain free items to ease that wait for the new year. The game doesn't shy away from giving you free stuff. And don't forget the skills. You can increase the selling price of fish goods, farming goods, and raw materials by 5%, then 10%. The cost of unlocking this skill does get a bit more expensive. My best bet in earning a significant amount will be fishing, and I don't mean selling fish. It's selling the blob eggs you get from wild blob battles you trigger during fishing. It could be a balancing thing, but getting blob eggs as a drop from the battle isn't too uncommon, so chances are you'll get duplicates. Sell those and you're on your way to getting the blueprints and building the facilities you want in no time. In this game, you can befriend 13 different characters with gems as names. Each has their own story and you can unlock special events and items as their relationship grows. As of this version of the early access, friendship events are available for up to friendship level 3 and some until level 2. But don't worry, these friendship events are enough for you to understand the character's personality and a glimpse of their backstories. Aside from their friendship events, there are also bonuses when you increase your friendship level. One example is what we've mentioned earlier. You can get a steamboard from Jasper when you reach friendship level 2. Others will unlock a quest line where you need to gather materials or build a museum, boutique, theater, and many more. Most of the 13 characters will also be available to join you in exploring the blob world, and they will assist you in wild blob battles. But my favorite part in increasing friendship level is that you gain skill points every level per character. We've mentioned learning certain skills throughout this video, and this is how you gain skill points. Another thing that you shouldn't miss out on is challenging them to battles. If you win, you will not only increase your friendship, not only will you get an item, but also level up their blobs, which in turn helps you during exploration. The game also has other NPCs, so the town definitely feels lived in. You can converse with these NPCs and gain insight into Clovertown's culture. I like how they add layers to the lore of the game, however they do not have any relationship bar unlike the 13 bachelors and bachelorettes. They can also be challenged to battles with similar benefits aside from increasing friendship. Once you unlock the camera, a questline will need you to take their pictures and get to know them. And it was pretty fun hunting them down. An easy way to get pictures is at festivals. While not all will come at a specific festival, a bunch of them will be by the central tree, probably waiting for the festival to start. Moving on to the creature collecting part of the game, the blobs. At the start of the game, you'll be able to choose your starter blob, with the elements being forest, storm, and magma. These elements form a triangle of sorts in terms of effectiveness and ineffectiveness. Magma is strong against forest types, forest is strong against storm, and storm is strong against magma. What confused me the most was how to increase the blob's level, and in this game it's apparently called power. The power is the sum total of your blob's stats in attack, defense, and speed, each of which can be increased by using skills. For example, we can see here that the water wall skill is at 28%, and this value will increase as your blob keeps using it. As it reaches 100%, your blob will level up on the stats indicated on the skill, which is in this example, defense. With that in mind, both of the skills in this example will only lean toward increasing defense, so it's important to make sure that skills stats are also considered in trying to strengthen your team. Then to increase your blob's health and energy, you need to feed it its cravings. A blob's food cravings change over time and are replaced by new ones. You can see by the small number above the item how many days are left to fulfill them. The more you feed it its cravings, the more prepared your blob is in battles. Not to mention, increasing the energy will let your blob that has special skills like the sprinkler able to cast the skill more times. Once you've unlocked the hut, you can finally get to hatching all the blob eggs you acquired. Aside from the starter, you can get a free egg from the breeder's shop. Make sure Flint's folks are inside. Feeding the blobs and cleaning the hut are fairly straightforward. One difference I can think of compared to other farming games is that you can feed the blobs any consumable items. So this is where the foraged items come in handy, since there are a lot and collecting the items does not require energy. Some blobs have special abilities like producing milk, coins, sprinkler, and a lot more. Do take note that activating skills need energy, and the times you can trigger them are limited by the blob's maximum energy. A blob's happiness depends on decoration, temperature, hygiene, and care. So make sure not to forget to pet your blobs and give them the attention they deserve. You can also craft furniture to make your blobs more comfortable and assist you in the long run. Having a hut means you can also breed your adorable blobs. And don't worry, you can still proceed in breeding even when your hut is at maximum capacity, since the end result will that be of an egg. You won't be able to hatch it though until you make space. Breeding lets you create stronger blobs, with not just the appearance getting passed down, but also the skills, including special skills. So you can mix match all you want and create the perfect blob for you. To breed, feed 2 of your blobs a heart fruit, which can be bought from Flint. Then wait for 4 days for the magic to happen. Make sure that the 2 of your blobs will stay at the hut, or else the breeding process will get cancelled if you move them. And as you breed your blobs, the offspring might have a mutation. These mutations so far are usually defense against status effects like poison, blindness, silence, and the like, which is pretty useful in battles, especially in the blob world. As you join the Adventurers Club, you unlock access to the blob worlds. In early access, you can visit 3 out of 7 worlds, each with distinct themes, different blobs, and hidden treasures. An exploration into one of the worlds requires a lot of time, so make sure to visit the place early in the morning to maximize your time there. We've touched on this a bit earlier. You can ask the 13 marriage candidates to go with you once they reach a certain level of friendship. This increases your survivability, especially since you'll get up to 4 blobs in battle, your team of 3 blobs plus their partner blobs. And their partner blobs will always turn up fully healed in a battle, so this saves me a lot of healing items. And to top it off, exploring with them also nets you an increase in friendship. There's no disadvantage that I can think of. Taking care of blobs can get overwhelming and tedious at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty fun and quite addicting. Ova Magica is now available in early access on Steam. The game is fully playable on Steam Deck and is pretty controller friendly. Farming and life simulation games for me are all about unwinding and getting lost in immersive gameplay and stories. And in these videos, we're going into the latest news on cozy, farming and life simulation games, from new game announcements to full game launches, and highly anticipated updates of both upcoming and established titles. If you're into cozy farming games, you won't want to miss this, so click on the next video. And stay awesome, gamers!